Good morning, Villa fans, and welcome to another podcast. 2 lives in 2 days. Lucky you guys. Getting used to this now, hopefully, and hopefully going to be jumping on and doing a few more lives as well. Really wanted to talk about Unai Emery last night being spotted in the stands at the Levante v Valencia game with Damian Vidigany as well. Making personal checks on a few players. I'm sure that Unai Emery, even though he's from that sort of area, and I'm sure that he's probably taken in some well-deserved holiday time, but, he's never kind of off duty. He doesn't do random. He's like Jason Bourne. He's out there for a reason, is what I would say. Maybe looking at a couple of Valencia players, but the one player that caught my eye that potentially Unai Emery could be looking at was actually playing for Levante, a striker, 22-year-old called Karl Etta Eyong. He's a 22-year-old Cameroon international. Now, he only got on for the last sort of 20, 25 minutes of the game, which must have been disappointing for Unai Emery. But this striker is getting some really good rave reviews out in La Liga at the moment. And he's a player who's come through the sort of Villarreal route. So Emery will know of this player, will have done sort of background checks on him. And I can very much see someone like this sort of player, young, up-and-coming, rough kind of diamond sort of player, being maybe a long-term replacement for Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins now sort of 30 years of age, this guy 22. And he's been getting some really, really strong reviews as well in La Liga this season. So just to give you sort of the lowdown on Karl Etta Eyong, if you're not sure about him, 22-year-old, 5'11", Cameroon striker, 7 caps, 1 goal. In La Liga this season, and do bear in mind that he's playing in a struggling sort of Levante side, 21 appearances, 6 goals, 3 assists for them as well. He joined Levante only for 3 million euros from Villarreal this season. So he's only been there for a little while. This is his first season at Levante. But he is someone that Unai Emery will know of. He's taken kind of the long route round. He's had a rapid rise in the last few years. I mean, back in 2022, he was still playing in his native Cameroon, sort of in the kind of local leagues out there, and then was spotted and picked up by Cadiz in the Segunda division of Spain, second division of Spain. So they picked him up, brought him in, put them into their sort of youth team to begin with, then gave him a chance in the first team. He then joined Villarreal for only just 1.5 million euros, and then has since moved on to Levante as well. What stands out to me about this player and what the chat has been about is that he has an insane work rate. I mean, we talk about sort of pressing from the front, being, defending from the front. Ollie Watkins obviously does that really well for us. This guy has got it in spades. Absolute work rate, pressing. His back to goal hold up ability is up there amongst the best. I mean, he's not massive. He's 5'11", but he has real brute strength that can hold off the players. He can bump defenders off him. He's very tenacious in the tackle. I mean, I've looked at some of his stats as well for this season, and he's one of the highest performing recoveries for a striker. 49 recoveries this season, which puts him in the sort of top 1 or 2 players in La Liga. He had 27 successful tackles as a striker this season. So, and one of the real stats that really stood out for me is that this guy is rapid. He has got the most explosive acceleration in La Liga from a standing start, which can go to 20 kilometers an hour. He was outrunning Mbappe, which sounds incredible, but but from a standing start, his explosive acceleration from a standing start is the highest in La Liga, and you've got Mbappe in that league. So that's a crazy amount of stats there, and a crazy amount of pace that he's got to get around players. He can finish as well. Very good link-up play as well. As I said, back to goal, brings in players, links to midfield, and yeah, just really good at holding up the ball for them as well. And if we look at some further stats for him as well, so career stats-wise, Cadiz, where he joined from the Cameroonian league, he made 46 appearances for Cadiz in the second division, scoring 14 goals. Then he moved to Villarreal, and they had him in their B team to begin with. And in the B team at Villarreal, he had 30 appearances, 19 goals. And then they moved him up to the first team of Villarreal, where he made 7 appearances and scored 2 goals. And then I've obviously sold him on to Levante in the summer just gone. But they're also keeping close tabs on him. They put a 50% sell-on clause into the deal. They also have a release clause twist as well with him. So basically, if a team were to offer Levante over 15 million euros, Levante would have to accept that offer. If they didn't, they would have to pay Villarreal the difference. So, for example, somebody offered 20 million euros for him, and Levante didn't want to sell him. They would have to then pay Villarreal 5 million for rejecting that offer. So it's quite a unique kind of twist in his clause and in his contract there. But Villarreal do rate him highly, 50%. I'm sure Unai Emery has spoken to, the coaching staff at Villarreal, even at Villarreal B, to get an idea about what this player is about, both from a personality point of view. What's he like off the pitch? He's obviously been in the sort of La Liga sort of circuit now for a few years. But what's he like as a person? What's he like off the pitch? Because it's all good being a fantastic player on the pitch, but if you're not going to fit into Unai Emery's system, then there might be trouble there as well. So he's obviously done his background checks on him, but I think this guy looks exciting. If you YouTube him and watch some clips of him, you'll see his brute strength, you'll see his finishing ability, and bear in mind, obviously Levante are a struggling side, and I don't think he's going to hang around too much longer at Levante on this sort of balance. I think we pick up Andres Garcia from Levante? Let me know in the chat. I think we did. Was it Andres Garcia from Levante? So we've got some history with them. And as I said, he'll know the Villarreal coaching staff and get the inside track on this guy to make sure that he's of the right character. But I think he could be an interesting option. And, this release clause here, 15 million euros, that is as well. So what's that? 12 million? Just peanuts, really, for a 22-year-old. It could be worth a gamble. I mean, we're talking about Brian Maggio obviously coming through. He's only just turned 17. I don't see him being anywhere near kind of the first team, even for next season. Really, I think maybe hanging around the academy, maybe a loan spell somewhere else. Seppi Redmond, not quite ready for me, coming back from a serious injury as well. I said Ollie Watkins, he hasn't been great this season. Tammy Abraham came in against Newcastle and performed really well. And now there are, shouts for Tammy Abraham to be starting above Ollie Watkins. So it's an interesting one. He's there for a reason. As I said, he doesn't do random. He's not Jason Bourne. But I think he could be an interesting option to have a look at. And I don't think there were any other players on either side, like the Valencia team or the other Levante players, that would have kind of stood out or could have been looked at. And I think because Emery must have the inside track about this clause, there's got to be some kind of truth to it. And he did play and score a goal against Arsenal in pre-season as well. I think they lost the game there. He has been linked, unbelievably, with Barcelona as they look to find a replacement for Lewandowski. Arsenal have been linked with him. I think they were impressed with his work rate and the way that he put himself about in that pre-season friendly, and are keeping tabs on him. But whether he'd go to Arsenal and be anywhere near the striking options for them, not too sure. Same for Barcelona. Is he likely to lead the line for them? Probably not. Real Madrid have also been credited with an interest with this guy as well. And he did score against Real Madrid. So again, there might have been having a look at him. I think they lost 4-1 in that game, but did he impress? Did he ruffle the defenders up? Was he someone that was catching the eye there? But explosive accelerations, rapid rise since 2022, playing in the sort of Cameroonian local leagues, to all of a sudden now La Liga. And maybe looking for the next big move after this. And Levante are not in a position to turn down offers. Otherwise, they've got to start paying, Villarreal money for rejecting offers. So I think it could be, there's a release clause in his contract of 30 million euros, which if that gets hit, then, Levante have no leg to stand on. They have to accept it. It's done. Do you know what I mean? But if they get an offer of over 15 million, and they want to reject it, then they've got to pay Villarreal compensation for that. So that clause twist for me is the key here. And Unai Emery must be aware of it with his Villarreal connections. Maybe Olabi is familiar with it, obviously being at Sociedad and, looking at this player, maybe from the youth team, maybe when he played at Villarreal B, maybe when he came up through Cadiz. Maybe Olabi's had him on the database, on the radar for a little while now. And it's just like this season, he's really kind of breaking out and playing really well. So, but guys, yeah, I just wanted to give you sort of 10 minutes on what I think Unai Emery was doing at the Levante and Valencia game last night. This could be totally fictional, could totally be made up. He could have just been there for a nice, long weekend or whatever it was, Valentine's weekend perhaps, who knows, with Mrs. Emery. But, he was there with Vidigany in the stands. And I'm sure that he's not one just to take in a game for no reason. And as I said, there weren't any players really on the Valencia team that kind of stood out to me that we've been kind of, maybe we could look at. But this guy, he has been getting some really rave reviews in La Liga. 22 years of age, incredible explosive pace, incredible hold-up ability. And, sometimes we need that. And the work rate and the pressing, it's difficult to find strikers that can really put in the effort like this guy can. And his stats speak for themselves. Recoveries 49, tackles 27. His explosive acceleration is higher than Mbappe's from a standing start. I mean, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. Anyway, guys, smash a like. Subscribe if you're new around here. You'll probably see more of me as I continue to do these lives. Hopefully getting much more confident with them, and just trying to build my own confidence up with them as well. But guys, if you made it sort of 11 minutes in, smash a like, subscribe, super thanks, super chats, all welcome. And as soon as any more sort of murmuring transfer rumors, there'll be match previews that are coming up as well. So yeah, keep your eye on the channel. It's going to be a busy one. Enjoy your day. Bye for now.